it's true. I mean, all this started, why I'm here is why I came back from the light is my near-death experiences. And I've had a couple of near-death experiences, and I've had two in Sedona.
Wow.
And as you see as you see in the background, but also Sedona kind of brings a different kind of element as well. It brings that accentuating energy of the interdimensional, field. But it all started with my first, near death experience. I had no idea that this was going to happen to me. Um, and every time after, I'm pretty shocked that this is going to happen to me.
Mm,
Having a near death experience is different from the other experiences that I've had
yeah.
of spiritual experiences, because I felt I felt that I was spiritual like before I had my near death experience.
Mm.
I mean, I felt that I was on the path, and then it happened. I got ill, I got sick. It was out of the blue too. Like it's like food poisoning, and different factors, kind of brought together, like accentuated the food poisoning
And
that
this
made
was
me.
right around 2006, is that right?
Yes,
Yeah.
around like 2006. So it's kind of like out of the blue. It was like unexpected. I got so sick that I started leaving my body. And when I did, it was interesting because I was kind of like out of it as I'm like leaving my body, and I'm realizing how sick I am. And I, what happened at those times was that but I started to remember, like it became familiar. So
Yeah.
it wasn't scary.
Mm.
It was like there was um a realm, a dimension that opened up on the earth, that was like this portal to the other side. And but I started to feel like this is natural, this is normal, this is just like what happens. And I could feel a presence there. I could feel a presence, but I could see and feel like a portal that was opening up. And then because I was kind of in and out of consciousness, because I couldn't maintain in my body anymore, I started to
Mm.
go up. I went, I started to go up to the light. And then I started spending, I don't know how much time that I spent in the light. It could have been, I don't know, because I was by myself, I was alone. And though there was someone that did come back, at the time, my boyfriend, something happened unusual, and a couple of his clients canceled for Miami, and that is really unusual. So he came
Mm.
home early to find me just like laying there, and
Wow.
um, kind of like pale, white as a ghost, not able to talk. But I went to the light, and what happened is, as I'm in the light, I am I'm I'm at I'm at home. It's like it's your true home. I kind of know what to do, and I'm conversing. I'm conversing with the light. Now we're not talking like this, but we're communing, we're telepathing. And for quite some time, like a really long time. And it's interesting because, and yes, I did all of these things that you do. I I didn't have exactly a life review, but I just went through all the people to make sure that they would be okay if I left, because I'm leaving. I believe that I'm leaving, and this is the natural process.
You're going through everyone that's still on Earth.
Yes,
Yeah.
I just, because it's kind of beyond time and space there.
Hmm.
But that's the most important thing, is love and relationships, and well, is it okay for me to go? And I did. So I whipped through like all the people of my life, and I checked in, and I was able to do that. And I did. And I realized that everyone would be okay. There
Mm,
wasn't anyone truly depending upon me or anything like that. But as we're conversing and as we're in the light, I'm I'm not so aware of what else is happening here, because it's like it's natural. It's
mm,
this is normal.
yeah.
Um and what you experience there, this this acceptance, this all
Mm,
acceptance, it's all love, this all light, all consuming, complete welcoming and familiar. Like it's
mm.
like
It's
the
like a
earth.
remembering, but a knowing from what I've heard from people speak about this. Is that a good way to explain it? Like they start to say remembering and then it's like, but you already know it and it comes back, but it's like it never left. If I
Exactly, like
yeah.
when you hit that space, then it is a remembering that this is normal, and and this is home, this is divine frequency, and that but earth becomes a little bit less,
Yeah.
like
Which
not
is
as much as your home.
mm,
And because the energy there is so different. It's just a whole it's we just don't have it here.
yeah.
And you're so embraced. Um, and but while I was there and we were conversing a lot, and it was beautiful. It was just beautiful what we were sharing, the light and I. And there was a lot that happened, and there's still some that I don't remember. And but while I was there, I didn't realize what was happening, but I am immersed. I'm
Mm,
immersed in the most gorgeous, um, beautiful music of creation. I would say the music of creation. They call it the music of the spheres, the music of creation, the this the almighty, all presence, sacred harmonics sound. And I didn't realize, because it was natural for me to
mm,
experience this. And so I'm like ready to, because I did a lot of things there, and we emphasized about love, but they emphasized about a particular way of love, and that was kindness. They were showing me what kindness does. And when you are kind, it doesn't even matter like if someone knows about it. It could be by yourself. It could be that you even helped an animal, or it's just a stranger. It's like you're pulled into kindness. There's times in your life when you know that you could be kind. And if you
mm,
choose kindness, it's a big deal, no matter what.
mm,
And because it's love, it's God's love. And what I was told is kindness is God's love in action. And it's like bringing God, it's bringing love into this realm. But they were showing me the ripple effects, how it changes things for the good, for the whole entire universe. Like,
yes.
believe it or not.
Yes.
And so I was kind of being immersed in our uh, conversation, our telepathy, because I was feeling it. It was so beautiful. And so I'm ready to step over to the other side. And I'm at the line of the light. And I knew you, like, there's things that you know. It's like if I had a body, I had two bodies. I had a body there because I felt myself there, but I also had a body there, here. And I knew that if I stepped one little like leg over to this light, because it was like the line, that would be it for me. And that I would be going into I would be going home and going into the light, all encompassing light of creation, and the music. And, but see, I was activated as I'm there, and I wasn't even aware of it. And so there was something from my soul, there was something from my spirit that I didn't even recognize. And it just was, I, I I I want to I want to sing. I want to sing in this beautiful, these frequencies, this music across the veil. I want to sing in this. And as soon as I did, this, because it kind of came from like right here, and like because I feel like that's a place of your heart and your soul is is right here, like in your higher heart.
And you're literally saying these, like, well, saying these words while you're there, right? Or like, well, whether it's telepathic or, but you're conscious and aware of saying, I want to sing this language, correct?
Yes, I
Yeah.
said it.
Yeah.
I was the one who said it. They didn't say anything to me. They were allowing me to see what I would do.
Mm.
They weren't
And
saying,
when you were saying this, did that feel like, because I've heard people say that they'll say something sometimes and it will feel like their higher self speaking through them, or like, did this feel like when you say there were two different bodies, did this feel like that was coming from the body there and not the body here? Am I making sense?
yes. And
Okay.
that is really interesting because I never saw it like that, but it
Mhm.
was like that because I
Yeah.
didn't really understand what I was even saying.
Hmm. Hmm.
But it was coming from something that was so deep and so
Hmm.
beautiful within my essence, and something that I didn't know that I
Hmm.
needed to do here. That it
Right.
was I had a soul's purpose. I
Mm.
had a mission that I had no idea to do. And when I spoke that, but I felt it so deeply within the essence of my being. What
Yeah.
happened is that brought me back.
Mm, mm,
And then I plummeted a very far way. That's what it feels like. And I know others have spoke of that. It's like you
mhm.
feel like you're plummeted from such a far distance and bam, like back into your body. That's what happened. It brought me back. And I mean, when I came back, I didn't come just like consciously. It was hard. It took a while to become conscious. Um, I had an intervention, I suppose, where my boyfriend, who is a doctor of Oriental medicine, just because I couldn't even speak.
Mm,
I guess I'd been gone for so long. Was trying to, be fully present. He just started rubbing my limbs and stuff like that to kind of
mhm, mhm,
bring back the color. And
mm,
so that's what happened. And I feel like now I go, wow, I had to have that experience to be
mhm.
able to do this
Yeah.
because prior to that, there was something that happened in my life. I'm not sure, but I was not a singer. I would
Mm,
never consider doing such a thing. It just was something that was always off limits, something that I wouldn't do, something that I wouldn't choose. I didn't know anything about music, or I still don't know anything about music. And however, that is what brought me back. And then things
mm.
started opening up. You know how life starts opening up.
Yes.
So it took me some time. It was an adjustment coming back from the light. I was super sensitive. It took, many months. In the beginning, it just really shifted my whole being.
Mm,
Um, and the sensitivity was such that I kind of stayed in my room for probably 3 months
mm,
because I was highly aware and empathic.
mhm,
It was like amplified. It did take some time, and but I felt like that's but that was my mission. That's my promise in coming back here. And but things started opening up. So I had I had one of my and then I started toning, I started singing, I started doing all these sounds. I'm also a sound practitioner because it's
mm,
also I can do the frequencies and the sounds. And I had lo and behold, all these things started happening, like opening up. I had one of my friends, she wanted me to perform and to sing and to bring this in. I'm in California at one of her events. She really wanted me to do this. And then so I did, and then I did put this out, and then I had a scientist, a physicist, who was doing research and study at the time of sound and healing and frequency, and um, the names of the chants and the names of God, and what that frequency was. And he found me, and he said he wanted to test me. He wanted to test my vocals, and because he was trying to see what was this right frequency, and what I was doing too. He was like, I want to see what you're doing here. And I said, go ahead. That's fine. Because for me, I had just gotten back recently from the light, and I'm like, it doesn't matter
Mm.
because I know what I'm here to do.
Yeah.
And then, however, he did all this testing, and then he came back with all of these findings. And some of the findings were in just one vocal setting. He found the six lost pure tonal notes of the ancient Solfeggio scale of creation, the mathematical equation of creation by, I think his name is Mark Rodin. He's a scientist. But at the time when this scientist told me this, I never heard of the ancients. I didn't hear of the ancient Solfeggio scale. I didn't know what he was talking about. And I said to him, is that okay? What does that mean to sing in that, right? And he's like, okay, well, here's some information and go to this website and find this out. And I did. And I mean, I eventually have come to know what that is, that those were the lost sacred tones of God and creation, like
Mm.
miracle healing tones that connect you to God. And Mozart, Beethoven, they were in that musical scale. That's why that music is still incredible and
Yes.
still healing, because it's so the music of creation. And so that was pretty incredible. And for me, I thought to myself, okay, well, that's fine. Maybe that's just a blessing to assist me with this this music, or these transmissions that are coming forth. Maybe it'll help to kind of place it somewhere for others so that
Mm.
they can be okay with it. Yeah.
Unbelievable. I have several places I want to go with this.
Okay.
If we could rewind really quickly, just back to when you came back and you just felt like you were a different person. You mentioned before how like important it felt for you to really like clear out the whatever, like you said that there were almost like leftover pieces that you could still feel of the old you that you felt like you needed to clear out. And there were a number of things that you did to do that. I would love to talk about that and like the name change, all of
I
that.
came back to this body and to this life. There was a lot that happened when I was in the light. And everything that I had known before about spirituality, about God, my connections in life, who I was, it changed instantly. And I I no longer felt connected or associated with who I used to be.
Mm,
And even my name, because everything had shifted. And what also happened is, coming back is, I went through this process of, it's like maybe a higher aspect of my being came back. And because that happened, it was like who I had been had to be, it was like had to be purged. Like
Mm,
I just started to every day, it was very intense. I would just clear and purge myself. And because what was also happening is things were coming up. It was
mm,
just, it was like this process of all of these, everything from this life, everything, um, everything from my lineage too, like
wow.
from my family lineage and the whole, it's almost felt like at times the whole genetics.
Mm,
And I would be in my room holding the field and just transforming and clearing and working with God and working with the light and transforming that and healing that for hours and hours on end. I recently have kind of shared about that, um, because it was something that I think that needed to happen
mhm,
so that I could be, I don't want to say this new essence, but the being that had come back.
mm,
And so it was a lot for me. And like I said, I felt that I was spiritual before, but
mm,
everything had changed. Everything that I had, every association with every, no matter what it was, God, the ascended masters, whatever, religion, spirituality, it just, it wasn't the same. And, but I also saw things when I was in the light of how the light came down to the planet and how it was pure and divine, and how
mm.
what happened is it's like we just can't help it. Like humanity just can't help it, right? We can't help it to for our egos to step in
Yeah.
and create all of this kind of a little bit lesser from the pure source of what I experienced.
Mm,
That was challenging because I experienced like the pure source of creation and God. So to come back here, it was like everything was not that. It wasn't, it
yeah.
was like had this energy on it. So I went through this process because I had to. I had to. And but I also I felt like this was such a an intense experience that I couldn't do it on my own either.
Mm,
And I went to a near death experience group that was in Pompano Beach. I'm really grateful for that group. It was a very large group. It happened to be in on the grounds of the hospital, so
mm.
people from the hospital could go down to this group. It was a very large group.
Wow.
Um, there were researchers and different people down there as well, moderating the group, and I just felt like I needed like help and support and just to be in the energy of that. So I went a few times. And the first time I went, I needed to just be with other people like that. I couldn't share my experience.
Mm,
It was just too raw for me at the time. I was so sensitive, but I enjoyed being with them
mm.
because I could feel it.
Yeah.
I could feel some of them had just had a near death experience. They just came from the hospital, right?
Mm.
And I could feel the energy. I could feel the connection. I could feel the light again. And
Wow.
I was like, I wanted that again, right? I
Mm,
wanted to feel that again here. And but when I went there the first time, I because we had to share our names, and I shared my name of who I was, and then I don't know if it was like monthly, but then I went back another time and I gave him a different name.
mm,
I said, I'm Shekina. And because I had a pro through this purification, I, I just, that, it's like that wasn't who I was anymore.
mm,
And it was Shekinah. Shekinah had come to me and it was clear. I mean, things were very clear as well
Mm,
because, the light source was, I was still very connected to that realm. And it was just very clear, like, Shekina came in and it was like, Shekina. And, we actually talked about it because at the time I didn't feel that I could hold the vibration of Shekina.
mm,
And Shekina told me, about the goddess and the sacred divine feminine and the sacred energies of the light and the angelic energies of the light. And it's feminine. I'm just letting Shekinah is feminine. And it's like the feminine aspect of God
mm,
and the light and the Holy Spirit. And she explained things, she showed me things. And so she said, Shekina. And I said, it just, it was right. I'm like, yes.
mm.
But it was helpful because it was like an imprint of that connection
Yes.
of the light, that I could be more of this frequency here because now I had also had that name. So when I went back to the near death experience group, I don't know if it was a month or two, I but I was very confident in my name. I said, I'm Shekina. And the rose also came as well because I knew I had another name.
Mm,
However, um, I was also kind of shown that I would get that name is I had to go through more clearing and transformation. So I
mm,
had to go through more healing, more transformation. And it was so much. It was a lot. It was so much. Some of it I don't even like sharing because it was like I was clearing sometimes for the whole world.
mm,
And
mm.
but it was just but it was like just something that I had to do. It like I couldn't proceed forward unless I did this. And so I kind of held it quiet that I was like doing this. And when I finally got to a certain purifying, and I'm talking about sometimes 6 and 7 hours all day long, and
Mm,
just staying in the field because it was challenging as well because there was a lot of at the same time as I'm in the light and I'm transforming and I'm transcending and going through all this, there was a lot of anxiety as well because it was all coming up, whatever that was in my field and from my line, my genetics, my lineage, it was coming up. That it was like at the same time. So I was holding the field at the same time. So there came a point and it was all like, it was interesting. It was like I felt like it was in my stomach.
mm,
And at the time, I was eating enormous amount of foods and and it I just could not I was so thin. I
mm.
couldn't gain any weight. I couldn't top 100 pounds.
Wow.
I was like 98 pounds and I was so thin and I was eating so much and I would make myself eat um, like at the Whole Foods bar, they had dessert bar too, and I would pile on all these big desserts and I would eat my meal and then I would eat all of these desserts. I would make myself eat it and it was so much energy that I was doing. It was just running through me. But
Mm,
eventually I got to a place. And when I got to that place, it happened. It was like she gave me the name. The light gave me the name and it was Rose. And it was clear and I felt it within my being. I didn't question it. I didn't quite understand like what this whole meaning of the rose would be for my life,
mm.
but I just accepted it. And so I became Shekina Rose.
Wow.
And because Shekina Rose is almost like a service name of that light because
Mm,
we have frequency of our name. And so after all of that, it gave me, I feel like it gave me, this vehicle gave me more of a channel for those frequencies, for the music of the other side of the veil, of creation. It's kind of what it, I feel like it also did. I mean, I didn't know that I was doing that I was doing that in my field for that as well, so that I could be that,
Mm,
like a transmitter of
mhm,
that music, because that
mhm,
those frequencies are really important.
mm.
Those frequencies, I mean, I know, okay, that there are no incurable diseases. They don't exist.
Absolutely.
That doesn't exist. There isn't anything that exists without the frequency of harmony and solution,
Mm,
no matter what it is. That's the music of God. That's the music of the other side. That's the music of creation, of the music of the veil, the spheres. Frequency, divinity, one it always will exist with the other. There will always be a harmonic vibration. So when you hear them, I believe what happens is there's a recognition a lot of times and an awakening. So a lot of people will have awakenings or healings or connections because it's a remembrance. You're remembering. There's something inside of you, whether you're fully conscious aligned to it or not, that
mhm,
is awakening within your cells, within your being. And and I also know my path, that after that happened, that purification, I continued on that path.
mm,
So for me, on my path, I try to be to continue with being the best vehicle and channel of that vibration.
mm.
So I do live my life accordingly
Yeah.
to um, make sure that I can be that highest vehicle of the purest vibration that I can be. So that means my whole life I am conscious of, and I'm also conscious of even what I view, the people that I connect with, my life, and the way that people talk as well. Like I can't be around people that would curse, because that, believe it or not, that's
It holds a frequency. Yeah.
it
Yeah.
holds a frequency, and I don't want to have that in my field, because
Mm,
I know about vibration, I know about frequency, and again, I also know that everything exists, everything that we could imagine, um, peace, harmony, cures for all diseases, wars, whatever that it is, that harmonic divine frequency is being held in creation for us.
mm.
It's there and it exists. It's for us to be open to receive that.
It just puts me in a state of awe when I think about all the things we have um helping us and guiding us and protecting us and all of that. As we awaken through this awakening, as each individual is going through whatever it is they're going through at any given moment, and there's so many things taking place, whether you look at astrology or whatever. I mean, there's just so much going on. And when you look at everything as energy, and what you were saying about the purging, the clearing, and how you mentioned it felt like it was your lineage that you were purging, as well as like the world's, everyone else's. That I just think it's so beautiful. It makes so much sense. There are people here for various different reasons, and there's so many people that I've heard say they, whether they had an NDE or they've just always known or whatever, came through a dream, whatever, they know that for a lot of them it's in whatever capacity to help people through this. And just thinking about like the work you did through the purging and like, and when you just think about energy and oneness, like true oneness, where we like all the one consciousness, the one space that we come from, it just makes so much sense. Like how you had to get rid of your stuff, the world stuff, so that the new energy had room to come in. And then you stressing the importance of staying in that same space, that frequency moving forward. I mean, it just, how you're explaining this just makes so much sense to me. It makes sense on like a logical, like very analytical level, and then on like this mystical, spiritual level. The way you explain this, for me personally, um, it just, I love it. I love it.